Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Kook. I am the lead developer behind Vilous Soldier of the North and the founder of Project Freelance Games. Right now I'm making this video to show where the project is exactly at. I'm going to be highlighting all the features that I currently have established, what I need to, what I'm working on, something they need to fix, etc, etc. That was weird how that happened. I was tabbed out of the window, so I guess the engine did some sort of it lowered the resolution of the terrain. That was weird. So here we have the editor window. I'm gonna press play. This is gonna load us up into the game, and you can see we spawn in and everything looks pretty good. We have our basic mouse movement, so we can look around, look at the ground, look at the sky above us. And we have our basic directional WASD movements. And you'll notice that as we walk, there's a head bob effect. If you watch the horizon, you can see that there's a head bob effect to create more of a realistic sense that, you're walking around. In the final version of the game, you'll be able to adjust the parameters of this, how intense the head bob is, and you'll be able to turn it completely off, because I know some people really don't like that feature. But, like right now, head bobs and everything you see are completely placeholder, subject to change in the future. And you'll also notice that there's a little bit of a head bob if you're just sitting here standing still, and that's to simulate breathing. Well, that's another pretty cool thing. We have other basic features like, jumping. Press the spacebar and jump. Get on top of this rock if we want. That's pretty cool. Now we're up here. Also have crouching. Smooth crouching too. Another really cool feature about the crouching, if we're walking around, we hit crouch. You see that we also, in addition to smoothly crouching down, we also slow down smoothly. We don't just snap to a crouch walk speed. That's another cool thing about that. If you're crouching, obviously you can't jump. That's me hitting the spacebar. Also cannot sprint, which is what you hear right now. And you see all the head bob profiles stay what they should be. So like right now I don't get a sprinting head bob profile if I'm holding sprint, and if I'm walking forward while crouched. If I stand up, and you can see we start to pick up speed as we start sprinting. There's also the head bob profile. As soon as we start sprinting, you'll notice, we go from smooth walking, hit sprint, and you see that little kind of jerk, and the head bob intensity increases. I'm gonna smooth that out, just like I did with the running speed. Go from walking to running. Also gonna increase the speed, or the rate at which you increase your own speed. So, just so it's not that slow of a build up. But like I said, everything's subject to change in the future. And if you've noticed too, while I've been walking around, the sky has actually been changing. That's because we use a procedurally generated sky with procedurally generated clouds. And we have a system called, I'm calling it the dynamic weather system. We have a system called the dynamic weather system that handles various factors like environment temperature, cloud density, weather events, all that sort of thing. So it might start raining during the video, it might start snowing during the video. I'm going to highlight all that stuff later and go into that in more detail. You can see right there the clouds are changing. You just watch them. I gotta change that speed because, they change kind of quickly now. But again, everything's in development, everything's very sped up just so I can actually see the changes happening and ensure that all the mechanics are working like they should. You see how, now the clouds are a little thinner. That's cool. Next thing on my list of things to show is leaning. So you can, you can lean left and right, you can crouch down over, back here, lean around the corner, see what's going on over here. And there was a problem I was having that took me, quite some time to figure out. There was a problem I was having where, you know, say you don't follow the lean animation all the way through, you wouldn't just, you know, instantly reverse the animation from the point that you were at and go back to standing straight up forward like that. So, you know, obviously, since I'm doing that, that's something that's fixed. I can just, you know, hit both keys and kind of start shaking around a little weird, but you know, everything's okay. In earlier versions, when I was, you know, first working on that mechanic, I'd button mash the key and the camera would just keep going over to the left, and then I'd be able to do all sorts of weird looking around, go through the terrain sorts of things. I'll look through objects, but that's fixed, obviously. So next on our list of things to do is to highlight the inventory that I've been working on. I really don't know how that one box got up there. All these items are, you know, physics-based. So I guess when it spawned in, you know, it just kind of popped up over there. That's weird. But anyway, the inventory. Press I to open up our inventory. This is going to be changed around. Things are going to be moved around, but you can see that we have a few basic windows. Over here is like our information on the item that we have selected, the item that we're looking at. We're going to get two buttons that appear over here that are context sensitive based on the item that we picked up. This is going to be a little preview image of the item that we're looking at. Down here we can see that we have a carrying weight limit, and that's how our inventory is limited. We can only carry so many items as long as it doesn't exceed the weight that we can carry. So as of right now, taking into factors like, you know, muscle density and the overall size of a typical Sergal, we can carry about 140 pounds. That number can be refined in the future, like I said. Of course, I'll have to add a metric unit of measurement for all the communists out there. No. And then, you know, over here we have the main inventory window that this is actually a list, and it's going to get populated based on the items that we pick up, the different items. And over here to our left, pretty cool feature that I figured out how to do is sorting items. So, oh, whoops. I'm so used to hitting escape to get out of the inventory screen, but I have to remember that I can't do that right now because this is an in-editor rendition of the game, so I can't hit the escape because that's just going to close the window that I'm playing around in. So right here, how we pick up our items, if I press F, you see that I run a ray trace from where my camera was over to, you know, whatever the ray trace hits. And if I can pick the item up, then if the item is on the list of things that can be picked up, then I will pick it up. Funny thing, in testing that, I picked up the entire world. That was not fun. But you can see how a ray trace works right there. There's a maximum distance that the trace can go, so I can't pick up, you know, say if I can pick up that rock over there, I can't just run a ray trace and pick it up from where I'm standing because there's a certain limit that you can reach. So, pick up that item. Just a little debug message in the top left-hand corner of the screen. You can see now that I'm carrying 200 out of 1400. That's units, and those are converted to pounds by the program. You can see, you know, over here we have the items filling in. Stop doing that. So pick these items up. Yeah, the weight is converted later over into, you know, 70 pounds out of 140 pounds. Now you might be asking, you know, hey Ryan, why do you have, you know, the units set as, you know, 800 out of 1400? That's because there are some smaller items like this. These are little bowls of noodles that I made. The bowls of noodles don't weigh 1 pound because that would be a really big bowl of noodles. So we can pick some of those up, and you can see now it says 812 out of 1400 in our debug message. And, you know, because you know, you can't tell exactly how much you're carrying realistically in real life. You can't tell the exact, you know, decimal place of the pound that you're carrying. So everything's rounded down here. But you can see now that we're carrying about 81 pounds out of 140. So I'll pick up another bowl of noodles maybe. Cool. And now if we go back into our inventory, I think I'll highlight the sorting first. Obviously we have the unsort button, which does the same thing as opening the inventory. It just brings up, here's your inventory array of all the items that you have. Now we can sort through the different items based on, what they're used for. So the debug inventory filler item is considered just an item. So if we click on that, you can see that the bowl of noodles items that we picked up disappear. They're no longer on the list. We can click on the food, and now the inventory filler item and the bowl of noodles have switched places because this is a food item and this is not considered a food item. You can also do that with drink, weapons, wearables, healing items, but obviously I didn't pick any of those up, so I can't display them because I don't have them. So if we click on sort, we're going to go back here, and we can click on each of the different items and get information on them over in the information pane. We can see that one of these little boxes, the inventory fillers, their weight 10 pounds. This is a debug item that should only be found by developers. It is used to test functionality of our inventory system. If found, please contact your nearest Project Freelance Game staff member and ask for assistance. And then we have our two buttons that say use item and drop item. Now if we go over to our bowl of noodles, this is a bowl of cooked noodles and a soy sauce mixture. It smells a little sweet and seems like it'd be a filling snack. And you can see it only weighs 0.3 pounds. So, and you tell our buttons too, use item, drop item, switched over to eat food and drop food. So I can use, the drop food feature, and that's just gonna place the item in front of me. I can pick it up again if I want. I can do that with the inventory items. I gotta figure out a way to distribute where they spawn on the ground, so they don't just, go popping around, flying around like crazy like that. But I can pick all those up. And you can see in the top right hand corner of our screen, we have some stats. Alara Health, Alara Hunger, Alara Thirst, and Currency Pool. If you've been paying attention, and this would work a lot better if I wasn't stupid and hit the escape key to try and get out of my inventory screen, you can see that those bars have been going down over a certain amount of time. And, each of those bars, as labeled, represent a specific statistic that the player has, their hunger values, their thirst values, and how much health that they have. So you can see right now thirst is getting pretty low. If I open up our inventory, go over to the inventory filler item, I can use this item, and it's just a box, it's a debug item, so its usage doesn't really make sense. But I have some notes somewhere. I don't have them open on my computer right now, of the specific stats that it returns, but I think it fills up 15% of your thirst bar and 15% of your hunger bar. And I think it also, heals. It might be 5%. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, we have it selected our inventory. We click use item. You can see that our stats go up. Our hunger went up, our thirst went up, and our health didn't go up because it was at max. And you can see that over here in our list of items, when I use the item, we lose one from the inventory. So I can keep using it, then that number will keep going down. And you can see right now, our character isn't thirsty at all, and she isn't hungry at all. And she has full health. You can see, now the thirst starts going to, starts decaying, so, we're gonna have to find water later and that kind of stuff. But you'll notice if I just, eat just everything, the noodle bowls, those return thirst value, they return hydration value, I should say. I'm just gonna pick some more stuff up. You can see right there our thirst is starting to go down, even though we just ate all that stuff. That's because as we're going through and eating, eating these boxes and eating these noodles, the hunger and thirst stats get capped, so you can't possibly get any more full than full. So that's another cool thing. We also have some features for the player taking damage, the first feature for taking damage that I've added is fall damage. So if you've noticed, if I'm walking around, and I jump or something, in the top left-hand corner of your screen, you can see that it says no fall damage dealt. And that's because as soon as the player leaves the ground, the computer is going to remember what that point was, and then it's going to calculate where the player hits the ground next. So if I jump from here all the way down here, you can see I take some damage because, where I left the ground up there goes past a certain value and ends up down here. So, if I fall within that range, I don't get any fall damage. But if I fall anything past that range, I take a hit on my health bar. So that feature works, if I climb up here. Obviously with jumping that works, and also, if I walk off ledges, that works. There's detection for when you leave a ledge. You may have also noticed too, when I jumped off, it'd probably be easier to show it this way. When I jumped off the cliff, there was like a bit of a health feedback kind of thing that showed up on the screen. It was, the screen got a little darker, colors got a little more desaturated, and if I, spawn from all the way up here, the player can't actually be killed, right now in the game, but, say if we spawn all the way up here, that fall didn't even kill us, huh. If I fall from all the way up here, oh yeah, that's gonna kill us. You can see right now, we have a really strong head bob. The video, I shouldn't say the video, the screen's a little blurred when we move around. And you can see everything's like really desaturated. There's not, all the colors there. All the color is not there. And you can see right now, because we have our, we're not hungry and because we're not thirsty, we are currently healing. In the top left-hand corner, it says debug, healed player for 1% health. And because that fall was so great, we're actually in negative health right now, so we're not healing too well. So here we can just see, if I go over here and press escape, you can see how much more vibrant the world gets again. And there's also a cool thing that happened. It's a 1 in like 4 chance that it's gonna happen. But using the dynamic damage system, which is something else I created, the player is able to sustain different injuries to different parts of their bodies, and each of these injuries can have a negative side effect on the player. So, right now, everything currently has a base value, but not everything has a penalty or a set in stone duration of how long it's gonna last. But let's say right here I'll pick up some items. Let's fill our inventory up. That's also a thing I didn't show with the inventory. Right now we have a full inventory, carrying 140 out of 140 pounds. I can't pick anything else up because the inventory is full. No matter how small it is, I will not be able to carry it. Now, say if I have only 130 pounds out of 140 pounds, obviously I can pick that box back up. I can pick one of these up, say, and although it says I'm only carrying about 130 pounds, because that is what I'm carrying, about 130 pounds, I won't be able to pick up this box, because when I try to pick it up, that's going to exceed our limit, and, you don't think you'll be able to carry it, just because it's going to be so heavy. But anyway, getting back to the dynamic damage system, and the status effects of different wounds, you may have noticed when I fell from all the way up there, spawned in the sky and fell down over here, there was a little message that showed up in the top left-hand corner of the screen that said the dynamic damage system overseer was called and that a wounded leg was detected. I'll be able to simulate that right now because, it's just going to be kind of a pain in the ass to watch me climb the same mountain and jump off to see if I can get it to happen randomly. But there you did see that it could happen randomly. I have a debug button on my keyboard. I do that and it says wounded leg detected in the top left hand corner of the screen. And right now, you know, if I take falling damage, the wounded leg is to simulate something like a sprained ankle or, you know, a hurt kneecap, something along those lines that would hurt your legs. If I go in my inventory, you can see I'm carrying now 130 out of 70 pounds. So there's no possible way I should be able to have all that in my inventory. And, you know, this is a little bit of a bug that I gotta figure out. But if I try to move forward, all that build up. Oh, okay. Okay, I know what the problem was there. It was a problem with my debug key. Um, I can show you guys what happened. We go over to here. Pick up a whole bunch of items. It's a problem with the way the debug key is set up. Talk right now. It's a problem with the way the debug key is set up. So if I press V, wounded leg detected over dynamic damage system overseer was called. I should have it set up so that if I after the wounded leg is set as true, then the overseer should be called. So if I press the button again, it'll say the dynamic damage system overseer was called. And this was the bug that I was talking about that I need to fix. You can see that we have a head bob movement, but we cannot walk right now. And that's because we are carrying 140 out of 70 pounds. So, you know, obviously, how do we fix that? Start dropping some items. Those boxes are gone. You see I didn't drop all the weight, so I'm overburdened in my inventory. But you can see now I can walk. I can't walk as quickly as I should because I'm still carrying way too much weight in my inventory. But you can see I can slowly make it over to these boxes over here so I can show you guys the next feature. Our inventory is set at being 70 pounds, so if I try to pick this up, I won't be able to pick it up. And if I continue to drop items, or I can use items even, let's say 80 pounds. Oh, jeez, it's gonna kill me. You can see we can walk around a little faster. We're still not walking around at full speed because we're a little overweight. And now we're moving at full speed. And we can't pick anything else up because we don't think we can carry it because we have a hurt ankle or hurt knee or something like that. There's also a feature too. Different items you use, which the debug inventory filler item is one of the items. You can use the item and it will reduce the amount of time it takes for your wound to heal. Now, that's, you know, obviously going to take a little longer because I have the dynamic damage system value set up to be somewhat realistic to how long it would take for, you know, a hurt leg to heal. So we may not see it if I exit this window. But basically, whatever time is left on the malady clock before our wound heals, whatever time is left there is cut in half if we use an item. So there's really no benefit to... There's actually a benefit, I should say, to using an item to treat your wounds as soon as you get them, as opposed to, you know, I have 2 seconds left, I'm going to use this item, now I only have to wait 1 second. You know, that kind of thing. So it would be beneficial to wound, or to heal yourself, not to wound yourself, to heal your wounds as soon as possible. So, like, again, I go over here, I can pick up one more item. That's 700 out of 700 in my inventory. I can't pick up anything else because I don't think I can carry it. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the dynamic sky. Seems to be a little gloomy today, I guess. I guess the weather wants to be bad. So the dynamic sky, we use procedurally generated clouds, and if you notice the you know, atmospheric fog, that also increases and decreases as the sky gets gloomier or gets clearer, and the colors also change based on, you know, if it's dark out because of the cloud coverage, or if it's light out because there are no clouds. It doesn't seem like we're going to be able to see our leg get healed, unless I didn't notice about it, which it doesn't seem like it did. So I'm just going to go over here and go over into our dynamic weather system blueprint, which is on a different screen. So if I open that up right now, you can see this is our dynamic weather system, and we have different code for that control the density of the clouds, that control weather events, and the probably most complex one that control the weather. So you can see over here, I'm just going to briefly go over everything and not, really go into too much detail on how everything's set up. But you can see with our dynamic weather system, you know what, I'm going to add a previous video that I posted. I'm just going to add a previous video that I was talking about the dynamic weather system in, so you guys can see what our day-night cycle looks like and what the weather looks like when it changes. But anyway, right now we can see that as soon as this is started, it's going to call each one of these different events, and it's going to start a timer which updates every 60 seconds, and this is going to determine the density of the clouds and how they need to change. And there are different safeguards that prevent annoying things from happening, like constant rain, constant snow, constant overcast days, constant clear days. I'm going to highlight those too. So you see we take our ultra dynamic sky and we get a variable called the cloud density target, and if that's greater than or equal to 4.5, which is pretty much what you were seeing, it's really gloomy. If it's greater than or equal to 4.5, then reduce the clouds. If it's less than or equal to 0, add clouds, and otherwise just bounce around within this range. As it's pretty much the same thing for all the different all the different weather events, and temperature and actual like rain and snow. It just gets a little more complicated. The rain and snow, that also updates every 60 seconds. And you can see we get our cloud density target here. If it's greater than 3.0, and we pull our 1 in, this is actually a 1 in 5 chance. If we pull our 1 in 5 chance out of the bag, then it's going to start raining. If the temperature is greater than or equal to 32 degrees. I'm looking at my code. I'm confusing myself with my code with how I wrote it. I'm gonna rewrite it and everything later. If our temperature is less than or equal to 32 degrees, then it's gonna start snowing. Otherwise, then it's gonna start raining. Actually, this is very specific checks and balances. If it is less than or equal to 32 and it is raining, then make it snow. And if it's snowing, then make it rain. Otherwise, if the cloud density is within these two different within this range of 2.5 to 2.0, which I can show you what that looks like if I go over here. Cloud density, go 2.5, which is right about there, to 2.0. So it's kind of like sun showers. There's still, spotty breaks in the clouds. Might be raining with this, might not be raining. And if I reset that, that's what this is going to test for. There's a 1 in 5 chance that if these conditions are met, then just stop raining, and that's going to stop raining by chance. It could keep raining, it could not keep raining, whatever. And if it is raining or if it is snowing, and the cloud density is less than 2.0, so it would look like this. Obviously, you'll look up, there's no cloud over here, so it shouldn't be raining. The dynamic weather system is going to force the rain to stop. And then go down over here to the weather. This updates every 1,260 seconds, which is 4 times every in-game day. This updates 4 times. If the weather... If the current temperature is greater than or equal to 70 and it is raining, then do this. If it's not raining and the cloud density is greater than or equal to 3, then do this. However, if it's not like that and it's less than or equal to 0.5, then do this. and it's just, you know, selecting a random range and subtracting it to cool it off, because 70 is pretty much the max temperature. And you know, if it's not greater than or equal to 3.0 or less than or equal to 5.0, the cloud density, and it's not raining, then, you know, pick a number from this range. And it pretty much does that throughout the other two, you know, weather events. If it's snowing, or, excuse me, if it's less than or equal to 20 degrees, then do the same thing mentioned above, basically. And if it is raining or it is snowing, and it's, you know, within the 70 to 20 degree range, then do this. Otherwise, check the cloud density and do this. So, might be a little more complicated than it needs to be, but it is what it is. So here's a brief little snippet of some time passage and weather. So I'm just going to take some of this time while you're watching this video to talk about the, you know, other factors of the different mechanics that I didn't go over in too much detail. That these all relate to the passage of time, which is what you're seeing right now. The dynamic weather system operates on a time scale of 84 minutes to 1 in-game day. So that means 24 hours in-game is equal to 84 minutes in real time. Our hunger, if we, you know, if we completely neglect that statistic and allow it to completely decay from 1 to 0, after that, if you further decide to neglect feeding your player, or feeding your character rather, if you further decide to neglect that, then you're going to be dead in about 1,763 minutes, which is about 29.5 hours. So basically, total time to your death from 100% fullness is about 30 hours in real time. Dehydrating, that's going to take you 17 minutes, and after you dehydrate yourself, going over to, you know, you're starting to kill yourself, you're going to die in 167 minutes, which is about 3 hours in real time. So from completely hydrated to dead from dehydration is going to take about 3 hours and 30 minutes in real time. And, you know, these stats are based on somewhat realistic world stats. If you don't eat food for about 3 weeks, you're gonna die. So, you know, how I figured out the number, you know, 29.5 hours in real time, since a real world, or rather I should say, since an in-game day of 24 hours is equal to 84 minutes in real time, I figure, you know, 3 weeks, how many days are in 3 weeks? 21 days. So with one in-game day lasting a real 84 minutes, which is, you know, 1.4 hours in real time, you take 1.4 hours, multiply that by 21, and you get 29.4 hours, which is, you know, about 29.5. None of these numbers are, you know, super specific, exact. You know, they're just ballparks. And same thing with water. Die in about 2 days without any water. 2 times 1.4, you get 2.8, and that, which is 2.8 hours, I should specify. And then also add the time that it takes for you to start becoming dehydrated, and that, you know, equals about 3.5 hours in real time. Now, the player isn't going to actually have to sit through a full day of 84 minutes or 1 hour and 24 minutes in real time. They're not actually going to have to sit through all of that, because different missions you can skip around. Different missions will skip around in time, I should say. And the player can also sleep in game, which is going to take about 8 hours in game, which is chopping off 28 minutes from the real world play clock. And you know, obviously that's going to skip ahead instantly in time, 8 hours in game or 24 minutes in the real world. So everything's kind of tied together with that one. Everything's kind of tied together realistically with that one 84-minute time constant. So, one last thing, like not going over, all the model building and texturing and stuff. Just covering the mechanics aspect of this. You may have noticed this guy running around, and he's an AI bot that I've been developing. I've been working on the brains behind him, and I'll show you what he does. You may have noticed him running around in the background, because that's what he does. He does it good. So you can see, he path finds his way around some items. He's actually following a patrol route right now. So he's just gonna keep running around the same loop over and over and over again. And right there he loops back over to running up here. So if we get out of his way, what we want to do is we want to stay outside of that little flashing sphere that's popping in and out around him. Because what that sphere is a placeholder detection. It's like a perception sphere kind of thing, where if you stand inside that sphere, he will see you. So I'd say, I stand inside the sphere, and he notices me, and he comes over to me. And you can see, as we walk around, what he's doing is he's running a ray trace from where he currently is over to where I am. And that ray trace is important because that establishes the last point that this guy saw me. So if I keep moving around like that, and if you actually watch him, you can tell he's not following the points, he's following me as I walk around. Because his movements are a little too smooth. He's not, snapping from point to point to point. So, this guy will follow me around over to the edges of the world. Like, literally, edge of the world's over there, there's another one over there. But if I run away from this guy, what he's going to do is he's going to go over to where he last saw me, wait for a little bit, and turn around and go back over to where he was interrupted in his patrol route, and pick up his patrol route and go over to the next sequential waypoint. It's pretty much the same thing with this guy, except he just straight up follows you around. He doesn't have a patrol route, and that's one of the first bots that I was working on. This guy isn't going to be used, but as you can see right there, mechanics are used. So he goes over to that patrol route and intercept him over here. So this is where he was interrupted, so he'll return back to that point. And I can say, hey, let's go on an adventure. Over here looks pretty cool. Run away from him, lose sight of me, and he'll go back over to where he last saw me. I can interrupt him again if I want. Lose him again, and he's still going to go back over to that first interruption point that we had, which is down over there on that hill. And you can see he'll pick up his path. I could set up some things, some walls and everything that show how they, path find around different obstacles. But I think that was kind of obvious with this guy. And, how he, I don't know if he walks at the same speed I do. Yeah, he does. You can see he walks around different objects like that. And he finds his way over to where he should be. You can see he's going to walk around those rocks. And then because he can't climb this steep wall over here, I'm going to get in his way again. Because he can't climb that steep wall over there. Oh, it looks like he's going to go over there that time. And he's going to go back to where he was standing. So, also with the patrol route guys, I have it set up so that these guys can spawn anywhere in the world that they want. And what they're going to do is they're going to detect what the closest waypoint to them is, which for this guy it just happens to be this waypoint. This is something I set up. Nothing here comes default with the editor. I guess you can argue that these guys did because that's example content. I'm just using it as a placeholder. But this is something that I set up. It's a navigation waypoint. And you can see over here in our waypoint characteristics, we have a route number, a sequence number, and we have a value that's associated with however many points there are in the sequence. So since this is sequence number 0, and that he happens to be closest to this point, he's going to walk over to this waypoint, say, okay, what's the next waypoint that I should go to? I'm in route 1, that's the route that I detected I was in. What's the next waypoint I should go in route 1? And that's going to be, where is it, over here? That's going to be waypoint 2, which is, route number 1, sequence number 1, because this one was 0. So he's going to go 0 to 1, and he's going to sequentially go all the way through until he gets over to 9? No, he gets over to 10. And once he's at 10, he's going to search for waypoint number 11 to determine that there is no waypoint 11, and he's just going to go back over to 0 and start his patrol route all over again. So a way that we can sort of show a proof of concept of that, if he spawns over here, he goes over to waypoint 0 and then circles around in the order that he's supposed to circle around in. We can... Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go up over here. So this is waypoint 9. So he's going to... I'm going to put a guy over here on this ridge, and he's going to go over to waypoint 9 and, circle around. Here, I'll bring this on screen. What I'm doing is I'm going over to my blueprints where I have my artificial intelligence, friendly lead bot, and the bot's actually out here. This is all the information files that he has. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag and drop this into the world. You can see I put him over there. Boop. Drop him right on the ground. Cool. And go up here and press simulate. And that's going to allow me to fly around in the editor and just keep track of things. So you see the guy goes over here to this waypoint, and then he starts following the same route that he should be following. So that's proof that no matter where they spawn, I stop them, I take this guy over here, move him closer to this waypoint so he'll do a zigzag, go over here, and then go over here. That's a proof of concept that they can be put anywhere in the world and they're going to follow the same patrol points. I can show that too. If I take this one, copy, paste, move it over here. So, say it's like really close to him. So he should want to go over to this waypoint first. Let's say I set that to route 2. So what I've done here is I set up, this little patrol route right here just consists of the 2 points. You can see it's route number 2, and over here, this is route number 1. So since this guy's going to spawn over here, he's just going to walk between these 2 waypoints forever. And since this guy spawns over here, he's closest to this waypoint, and he's going to walk around in this patrol route forever. We press play. See, he goes back and forth. And this guy, he does his thing. So another thing that I still have to go over is weather events. And just for sake of, things looking how they should, I'm gonna increase the cloud density to maximum, or near maximum. And I'm gonna go over on my other screen right now. I'm scrolling through my content browser, and I'm gonna pull out some particle effects that I want to show you guys. So we have a rainfall particle effect, which we spawn over here. It might be a little tricky to see just because of how compression is handled in videos, in video recording on YouTube and everything. The way that videos are compressed might be a little tricky to see the raindrops, but I could press play. Nope, sorry. Press play, hit pause. I'm gonna slow my camera movement speed down a lot, and we can come over here and focus on the raindrops themselves. So you can see how they kind of have like a inner core that has a solid color that we can see. And that's so, we can actually see it when it's falling like this. It's much easier to see like that. If we pause it though and we look closely, you can see that there's a little bit of a refraction on the raindrop itself, and light bends around just as it does with water. So that's a pretty cool thing. If we also look closely at the ground, if I continue playing, oh, I forgot. For some reason, it doesn't do it when it's in the simulate. It does this in game though, and obviously it does it in the editor. You can see each of these little raindrops. As soon as they hit the ground, or as soon as they hit whatever object, they splash. So yeah, I would show you that, but I would show you that paused, but I can't really do that for whatever reason. You can see right there how each of the little raindrops splashes on the ground, or on whatever it's hitting. Well, that's the rain. Bring our camera speed back up, get rid of that. Going back over to my other monitor right now, and pull out some more particle effects. This one's snow, light snow. Obviously, it is what it is. If we look closely, we might be able to see it. The particles don't all fall uniformly. Some of them have a random rotation to them. Some of them are traveling in slightly different directions. Some of them tumble through the air. A little tricky to see with this amount of particles, but they don't all fall in one uniform fashion. Some of them are falling more vertically than others. Some of them are getting, a little pushed by the wind. We got that, and we have another variant of that same effect. Heavy snowfall. And obviously, we have a lot more particles, and they're falling a lot faster. And what we'll be able to do, if I can trigger the weather system, excuse me while I navigate the content browser. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just gonna insert this little bit of code here. And that's gonna force it's gonna like kind of short circuit this whole thing of code that's tangled up with the dynamic weather system in a different blueprint. What this is gonna do is I'm just gonna hit H and it's going to start raining. I compile, play, hit H, and here's what our rain looks like in game. Yeah, walk around and look at stuff. Got raindrops splashing all over the place. Pretty cool. That's what the rain looks like. And then what I can also do, let's say we break this link. What I'm going to do is sort it out in a different way and show you what the light snow looks like. Compile that, play, H, and here's the light snow. Each of these particle effects are paired to the player, so I can move around over here. And I need to update that little radius a bit, I guess. Because you see, I could probably run out of this. Yeah, you see it's not snowing over here. Now it's going to be snowing. That's because the particle emitter is actually following the player around. So if I always look up, it's always going to be snowing. But if I'm walking forward, it might not always be snowing, just because I'm actually walking out of the snow. But that's another thing I gotta work on. And also, this is a pretty cool thing that I added that I think is really cool. Ooh, I gotta add a sequence node to get this to work. If I add the sequence node, I'll be able to short circuit two different things to show you what's going on. They don't have to be at the same time, these particle effects, but just kind of a cool little thing that I think looks cool. It's a breath particle effect. So if I hit H, it starts snowing, and I start breathing. So you can see, the fog, breath fog. And look around and stuff, and you see it moves around with me. And with the camera more specifically. A little tricky to see because it's a very subtle effect, so if I'm moving around you might not be able to see it entirely, but if you're just sitting there looking up at this mountain, you can see just that really faint little exhale of air, and I think it looks really good for a breath effect. better than some of the things the other games have. And obviously that's to simulate that, it's really cold out right now because it's snowing and, we can see our breath and everything. And one last thing, just like the AI, these guys, their problems and everything should really not reflect the final quality of the game, because like I'm not even kidding. These guys were the last thing that I was working on before I made this video. So to say they're still in development is a understatement. um but also this is a feature that I've been working on that's very heavily in development like these guys. If I look down at the ground and press Alt, I can place boxes in the world. And you can see that each of these boxes run a sphere ray trace. And what that's doing is that's checking for anything that would be overlapping that wouldn't allow me to place the box. So right there you see I cannot place them. Put them over here. Can't put them over here because that's going to be intersecting the rock. That's a little bit of a problem. Gotta work that out. But again, really, really, really heavily in development. I can place boxes going up the wall, but if you get to a certain angle, then you can't place the boxes. I can't pick them up right now. You can collide with them, you can climb around on them and stuff. But yeah. So that's pretty much everything. Showed you guys all, everything I got going on so far. That's where we are at in development as of March 29th. I showed you guys character navigation, basic character navigation, weather events, dynamic weather system, the procedural clouds, inventory system, how that works, dynamic damage system, I highlighted that. The AI, very heavily in development, showed you guys the sandbox construction, which is very heavily in development. And I got a list over here. I've been checking things off. Yeah, that is that. Dynamic damage system, covered that. That's where we are in development. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like the project and how everything's coming out so far, feel free to go support me on Patreon. You can look at the link in the description of this video on YouTube. Visit that link. That's going to be the Patreon page to support this project and the game development. All funds go directly into developing the game, so I'm not like, going out and buying myself coffee or anything. If you, want to see how the project's going without following on Patreon, then there's also I have a development blog on Tumblr. You can find that in the description as well. Stay up to date with what's going on. But that is that. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you later.